I am here with one of my clients, Ian, and I just want to have him talk about his experience inside Attraction Accelerator. So, Ian, why don't you first, start off by telling everybody a little bit more about you?
Awesome. I'm a young guy living in Keene, and I describe myself as an entrepreneur, musician, and really just an ambitious person. I love learning, and I love personal development.
Cool. Awesome, man. So, I guess first, can you share, a little bit about what your dating life looked like before, like how many dates you were getting before we started working together, how you felt about dating, and then obviously after you joined Attraction Accelerator, how'd that change?
Before Attraction Accelerator, I was barely getting any dates. If I did get a date, it was completely by luck. I've gotten maybe one or two dates in my life before Attraction Accelerator, one through high school, through friends, which again, complete beginner's luck, just kind of random. And I obviously didn't make the most out of it because I didn't have the skills. I almost got a date just talking to a stranger, but I didn't know what I was doing and it didn't go anywhere. Ended up in rejection. Uh, and so, yeah, that's literally it, barely getting any dates. And the way I felt about dating back then was it felt like something like far-fetched, like a fantasy. I was thinking to myself, why would anyone make time to see me that, you know, knew nothing about me, basically? And it was definitely I wasn't feeling empowered at all. Um, and I felt like basically everyone was taken. And so I couldn't find any, just kind of stuck in this scarcity mentality. And then after I joined Attraction Accelerator, man, even within the first month, my mind just kind of opened up because I was given the frameworks and strategy to go out there and meet new people. And not only that, but I had basic skills that I started working on to feel more confident and to come across as more confident and become more confident as a person. Um, Literally going from talking to no girls to talking to five girls a day. I mean, that alone really changed things for me to be able to do that and to know that that was an option to begin with. Um, and so by doing that, starting to build my confidence, skills, um, and things like that, I started getting about one or two dates a month, which at the time was a big deal to me because, like I said, if I was lucky, I'd get a date every couple of years. Um, and then, 6, 7 months down the line, I got my first girlfriend, which was life changing. I never knew what it would be like, what it would feel like, ever. Again, when I was kind of younger, I just kind of imagine and fantasize. But to have the real thing was, it literally felt like I was in a movie. Um, Felt awesome. And now with where I'm at, uh, I'm starting to get even more dates. I'm starting to create even more options for myself and to increase my value. I've met a lot of great people through the coaching program as well, that have helped me with my style. Shout out to Eric. Um, and you've also put me on to the importance of branding and, uh, you know, photo shoots and things like that. And so I've been getting a lot more matches online as well. Um, Literally going from nothing, not knowing how to use apps, to getting, you know, over 150 matches in like a week and a half. After figuring out this stuff is also very transformational. I basically never worry about if I'm gonna have more dates because I know I have the processes and I have the routines and the scripts and the mindsets and the accountability and the almost instantaneous feedback from you to know what I'm doing right and what I could improve on. And so I'm just in this state of knowing that no matter what happens in life, my dating life is going to be all right. It's handled. I have a game plan.
Cool. Yeah, no, dude, that's really cool. So like when you mentioned you had a game plan now, obviously you talked about earlier like what it was like for you dating before, and it kind of felt like this vague thing, like, oh, I'm kind of just waiting around. Um, so I guess like what'd your process, I guess not really much, but like what'd your process before look like before working with me?
Just a lot of anxiety. That was the only thing that could describe it is like I'd see someone I like maybe in person at a coffee shop or at the gym or just anywhere. And I think to myself, wouldn't it be nice if mm, they knew who I am and knew the great things that I could bring to the table? Like I knew I had value, but it was this kind of like fear and not knowing how to bridge, you know, that gap of like, okay, so like how do I make something happen? So my process was literally to see other people that I thought were attractive, just kind of walk past them, not really knowing what to do, fantasize about them a little bit, and then that's it. Just
Yeah, I
keep
do.
focused.
I feel like that's a thing that a lot of guys probably will resonate with. Like, that's the process that I definitely had for a very long time. What were the main challenges you were facing before? Like, obviously the anxiety.
Right.
What do you feel like was the main thing that was challenging for you before we started working together?
It was this, I felt like I was offending people or I was being too forward. And I also was afraid of what other people around me would think if they saw me talking to girls that I thought were attractive that were strangers to me, basically. Uh, and I also had felt weird about dating apps because there's a stigma around them. There's a lot of judgments on the people that like use them. For example, oh, you're just looking for like hookups, which by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. Um, or maybe people would think like, oh, you're a player or you're that guy. You're just like you want to like trick women or like use women. Like all these like bullshit judgments were coming up for me.
I think that's probably a big thing that holds a lot of guys back is just the process and not prioritizing it as something that you actually do want to get better at. Because at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
something that serves you for the rest of your life, right? But a lot of people don't see it that way, or like, at least a lot of guys like they don't want to see it that way. Um,
Yeah. I mean, the red pill content also didn't help me with that because a
yeah.
couple of years ago, I was told by these people that if you get six pack abs, if you get solid career, if you make a lot of money, the women problem is going to fix itself. But it's not.
What were the two biggest changes to your process during those two like times of us working together?
So the approach era, the in-person approach, the biggest change in my process was to look at it from a completely objective lens. Before I was all wrapped up in my emotions. I was not making moves, not going for what I wanted because my emotions were tied up. They were creating like this very hyper lens in which I saw the world. So when I was getting rejected, I saw that as terrible or I took it personally. But now that I've changed my process, I can look at everything as okay, what could I have done better? Um, how did I carry myself? What did I say? And how can I like improve these things? So it's as you say, like looking at it as like ones and zeros almost.
Well, like
uh
it's a process. It's like it's something
plus
you're doing, not like something that I'm just trying to find the right girl
yeah,
for me or whatever. Like I'm trying to wait until my magic fairy tale moment happens. You're like, okay, what can I do better? because at the end of the day, it will be a numbers game at some point, but you want to be searching through, you want to be searching for like needles in a haystack that's half needles and not needles in a haystack where there's one needle in there. Responsibilities did you have? What responsibilities did I take care of? What was that like?
Yeah, for sure. In general, commitment wise, when I was doing in-person approaching, um, at the most like intense phase of it, it was maybe an hour or two a day of just like walking around, meeting people, going out specifically with the intention of approaching, for like a couple hours a day, um, for the first month. And then it became part of my lifestyle. It didn't feel like an additional responsibility. It felt like part of my life, after I'd gotten over the hump of actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm walking to work, um, I'm getting groceries, I am uh, meeting up with friends, and like as I'm out there, I just see opportunity everywhere. There's cute girls all the time, every day,
Mhm.
as you're going about your day. So I don't feel like it's additional responsibility. Yeah, now it feels like it's part of my life, but only because for like 6, 8 months, 9 months, I've proactively went out.
Mhm.
Like I did not feel like going out all that time. I did not want to be walking around for like an hour or two a day. And even now, I'm still going out, uh, 2, 3 nights a week at a minimum, for like 3, 4 hours. So like 7 hours total a week minimum, uh, at night.
Mhm.
And that is a commitment. That is time because I'm taking time away from other things and dedicating it to just being around people and practicing social skills and attraction. So it is a commitment. That's for sure. Still is even right now. And with the dating apps, like it takes time to like message a lot of people and to message you asking for feedback
Mhm.
and to like journal about what I'm learning, and taking notes on videos.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think like it's really just about if you prioritize it, like you'll make it work and you'll figure it out. Um, I guess I am curious about this. Based on your results so far, where do you see your dating life in the next 6 to 12 months? Like, what's that look like?
I see myself going out on 3 to 4 dates consistently a week. And I see myself dating at least a few girls long term, um, and having open relationships and having just abundance. Um, yeah, that's what I see.
That's the fun shit, dude. That's the good stuff. That's the phase a lot of guys should go through, man. It feels good. It's fun. Um, what surprised you about Attraction Accelerator? Like, did you have misconceptions? Like, what was the surprising thing about it?
The most surprising thing is that I was able to take action and get results even when I didn't know what to say. That was the craziest thing because, the program at the time was broken up into 7 or 8 weeks, I believe. And I started getting dates just getting through week one's content and maybe some of week two's. And that really shows you that you don't need to know everything. You don't need to know everything to say or the right things to say, or even if you make mistakes, that's fine. Like girls will still like you. Like the bar is like what most guys are nowadays isn't that special. And so if you work on yourself, even if it's just a little bit, you will get results. But expect to work on yourself at the same time. So that's the most surprising thing is you don't have to be perfect and you'll still get results.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's pretty big. Like, if you if you genuinely just are like taking action and trying, like you will start to get results and you don't need to know everything. It really comes down to prioritizing. And then it also comes down to like optimizing too. Because if you had stopped at, this will be my last question. The original one, that was normally my last question, but I have one more, where if you had stopped around the time that you started getting 1 to 2 dates a month, which I guess you kind of did because you had the girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Like, without making further optimizations. So basically the difference between like doing well and like crushing it, what's the difference in that? Like how much, because obviously you have to still put in the effort to get to the point where you're really crushing it. But like, what's the difference in how you feel between, yeah, I'm like, I got this pretty down. And like now I feel like, and you still have a lot of work to do, right? But like you're crushing it now. Like
Mhm.
most guys would kill to have girls like texting as sexually as you have girls texting you. Most guys would kill to be able to go on as many dates as you have lined up. Like, what's the difference there for you? How's that feel different?
I, to be completely honest, I was just sitting on my couch when those results started coming in. Not the pretty good results, but like the wow, like 3 to 4 dates. Wow, girls like saying sexual shit to me over text and just like chasing me. Like I sat on the couch and I'm like almost in tears. I'm like, my body is like just in this like euphoric state. Like I can just relax. Like I got it. And when I go to work, I'm like, I'm not worried about girls. Like it's working. I
Yeah.
have no worries. I have nothing to worry about. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. And dude, it's a good feeling. Like that's why I think it's something that a lot of guys will, especially I'll talk to guys and maybe I'll even do a call with them or something, and I'll kind of help them out, point them in the right direction. And they'll be like, dude, I got like a date this week and she flaked, but it's awesome, man. I'm like, cool, that's great. But like a lot of guys will settle for that level of like girls are starting to show attraction because it's so
Mm,
much better than being lonely. Like girls starting to show attraction and maybe one girl chasing you, but she's not your ideal girl. She's maybe like, half the girl in terms of attractiveness or whatever that you're actually looking for. Like, but she's cute and you're happy about it. Like some guys will get there and they'll be happy with it and they'll settle for it. But then over time, you start to get used to that. And it's like, fuck, I
mm,
still have the stress of like having to worry about it, having to think
yeah.
about it. And it's no good. Right. So yeah, I think you describing the difference between doing pretty okay and like doing good and like doing amazing, that's a huge difference. And that's something that I think if you're a guy that wants a really perfect ideal relationship, or you want to date multiple women and like have lots of sex, either one, you need to get to the point where you're crushing it. Like if you're not at the point where like you're like, I have so much pussy that I cannot even think straight. If you're not at that point, then like just keep getting better at it, because it should like naturally, because it's so on autopilot, it should naturally fall out of your priority list. Like you don't even think about it, right? But until it's there, like what's the point of like sitting around and be like, oh, like it's pretty good. Like I don't know. Um,
You're always going to have like anxiety or like that voice in the back of your head. What if this doesn't work out? How am I going to create results again?
yeah,
It's basically the difference between like settling for breadcrumbs versus choosing, picking and choosing, being able to pick and choose.
yeah, no, exactly, yeah. And like, dude, when you're starving, breadcrumbs are really good. Like you're,
Yeah.
man, I love these breadcrumbs. I could survive. Well, it's like whenever I used to live in Missouri, I could make $1,000 in a month and be like, man, I pay all my bills. I can still go out to dinner because like rent's super cheap and like it's great. That's breadcrumbs. That's 12K a year. Like it's really bad. Um, or you go to, maybe you're even making 2K a month, like 24K a year. That's still like below the poverty line, I'm pretty sure. But like you feel like you could survive on breadcrumbs, right? But and I don't know if it's because you don't have the confidence to think you could make more money, but it's the same thing with girls. You start getting some results and you went from basically nothing to a little bit and you're like, oh man, I just want one girl like that. That's my favorite one. It's like, oh, I just want a nice girl that loves me for me. And it's like, no, dude, you want the perfect girl that loves you for you. Like that's what you want. That you like, she loves you. She's madly in love with you, and she's your perfect girl all the time. Like
Mm,
you don't want like, oh, I just want a nice girl. Because like,
mm,
guess what? That nice girl, you're gonna feel like you settled in 4 years because you're gonna get used to her. And that's it. You want to have your ideal relationship. Like I
yeah.
like like for me, like I'm married to a girl. Like the only reason I'm married is because she wants to have threesomes with girls. She likes it when I go out and flirt with other girls. She likes all of my ideal, most selfish lifestyle choices that I could make. She wants that for me as well.
Wow.
It's the only reason. Because and that's why abundance is so important, because you can just wait until you, and you have to like actively like seek out that girl, but you have to wait until that girl comes along and then not fuck it up.
And by waiting, it doesn't mean you're not dating. It's actually the
Oh
opposite.
yeah.
It's like you're dating a lot. You're like really like pedal to the metal abundance. Like and then you can find her. It's not like she
Yeah.
falls into
I
your
mean,
lap.
dude, I was like hooking up with like one or two new girls every week for like weeks on end before I met her and after I met her.
Mhm.
And I was just doing my thing, and we were like the relationship was open for like 6 months, like completely open for like 6 months at least, and I was still just doing my thing the whole time. Like I was still I was obviously I was seeing her a lot, but like I was going out, I was doing my thing, whatever. So it's just, you know, you have to be able to have those options, because if you don't and you're not actively dating, you're kind of fucked. um but yeah, dude, that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Just like sharing your experience.
Thank you, Tim.